Hello, and welcome back to another Queermas episode of Swords and Sapphics. I'm Rachel,
I'm Ivy.
and this is the place where we talk all things queer and feminine, everything to do with representation, and it may include sharp objects. And jingle bells.
Sharp objects with jingle bells.
So, today we have another special Queermas surprise for you. We shall be talking to Imogen Markwell-Tweed, who is the author of many queer novellas. One of our favourites for the Christmas season was Bus Ticket Baby, which we read last year and loved. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into Bus Ticket Baby, let's continue to talk a little bit about Christmas.
Yes, I wanted to make some noise like jingle bells, but then I was like, I don't even know how to do that. So I just, yeah. Anyway.
Insert jingle bells here.
Yeah, precisely. Let's talk about traditions. We discussed mine. Now let's talk about yours.
Look, British people do not have culture. Our traditions are Christmas dinner, mostly. Presents, as most people. We do a lot of pantomimes, which I mentioned last episode. Christmas markets. But I would say our traditions are pretty basic for Christmas. Yeah, we celebrate on the 25th. We usually open presents in the morning, and then we will have dinner around 2 or 3-ish, Christmas dinner.
Which, hold up, you're talking about dinner, but for those who are usually just as confused as me, she means lunch.
No, it's Christmas dinner.
It's 2.
It's an early dinner. So
no, 2 is a lunchtime.
No, we skip lunch because our lunch is at like 12 or 1. We skip lunch and then we have something between a lunch and a dinner, but it's humongous because I think dinner is less a time and more of a state of mind. My favourite part about this is the Yorkshire puddings, of course. Yeah, they're very British. I actually dedicated my book to Yorkshire puddings because I love them so fucking much. Especially when you put in the gravy, fill up the Yorkshire pud with lots of gravy, and it gets a soggy bottom, but it's still crispy on the outside. Another amazing thing about British Christmas is pigs in blankets. I don't need anything fancy from the butchers. Just give me an Iceland batch of pigs in blankets and I'm happy, which is, by the way, not sausage in pastry, which some people believe it is. It's sausage wrapped in bacon. Fucking beautiful. I'm very passionate about my Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
But yeah, then after that, we'll play games, family games, board games. But most of all, people are just trying to nap on the couch. Usually, like some shit film like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or Mary Poppins is on. I call it shit, but I really like those films. But, you know.
I believe like Mary Poppins for the rest of the world ain't shit. So
It isn't shit. What I mean to say is that it's the film that's good to nap to when you've had a big dinner.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. I can't say we have much more culture than that, really. Sometimes Father Christmas comes around a few days before Christmas in his little truck for the kids to wave at, and he gives out some chocolate and stuff like that.
Aww.
Yeah. My stepdad once dressed up for my little sister as Father Christmas, and she cried and was quite traumatized by it. So we don't do that anymore in our house.
The elf on the shelf, that's you guys, or some?
Fucking hell! Do not get me started on Elf on the fucking shelf. I don't know where this came from. I don't know where it came from, but suddenly everyone has elves on the shelves, and like they wake up every day and they have to post it on Instagram. It can't be contained to their own household. Everyone must know they have an elf on the shelf.
I have a fucking TikTok filled with it. Like I am very confused.
Look, no disrespect, peace and love. but you're fucking annoying if you do Elf on the Shelf. We all know that you put the elf there. We're not fools. You don't have to tell us about your mischievous selves on the shelves. We know it was you. Just leave it for your kids. We don't care. I just want to watch shitty Christmas films in peace. I don't care
like Mary
about
Poppins.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't foresee this becoming a rant podcast.
Yeah.
That's what it's like to be British. I can't think of anything interesting. When I was young, it was so much better. We had like pantomimes made for TV with like famous soap stars and stuff, and they were the most Christmassy thing ever, and I loved watching them so much. But they don't come on anymore. I think Britain's problem is that it really wants to be America, but America don't have Yorkshire pudding, so why would you wish for that? Stay in your lane, Britain.
I mean, I guess like they got away from you once and you're trying to get them back or something.
Yeah. It's not
What about the crackers thing? Because as we've seen, it's very misrepresented in some movie.
Okay. For those who don't know, we do have Christmas crackers, which are like a box with treats in. Like you usually get a shit joke, like a pun or something like, what did the penguin eat for dinner? And it's like an iceberger or something. And you get those and you get like a paper crown. So we all sit around Christmas dinner eating not eating them, wearing our paper crowns. Usually get some shit toy that will just hang around your house for the rest of the year that you don't need, like a nail clipper or one of those Chinese puzzles where you have to try and unlink the metal things. You use that once and then it just gathers dust. And okay, so now we know what the contents of the Christmas cracker. One person pulls one end and one person pulls the other. Now make no mistake, those should not be both hands on the Christmas cracker. The other person's hand should be holding the Christmas cracker. It's not just for one person. It's to crack across the dinner table. Okay, and then whoever gets the biggest part of the Christmas cracker gets the prizes inside. So if you don't get the prizes, you have to go and do the Christmas cracker with someone else. Now, on TikTok, I have seen something quite monstrous. And it is a man pulling a Christmas cracker by himself. He thinks that you do it with both hands just to yourself. You don't share this joy with somebody else. That's not what you do with the Christmas cracker. It's meant to be shared. It's a game. It's like a wishbone, but cardboard.
Did some child around you, or perhaps you cried when you didn't win it?
I probably did when I was younger, but then again, they're not exciting. Like I said, they have nail clippers and stuff in there. It's not even exciting for kids. The best part about it is the paper crown. But yeah,
that's exactly my point. Like I would cry if I didn't get the paper crown. I'm gonna be completely honest.
No, but then if you don't get it, you go to the next person and pull that cracker with them, and you just keep going to different people until you've won something in your cracker.
But what if you don't? And there are no crackers left, and you're the only one who got nothing.
Then the adult will kindly give you.
Okay, but it's still there's that not sweet taste of victory, and I feel that would kill our family.
I'd like to say it's about strength and victory, but it's really just about which end of the cracker you pull, because inside there's a tight strip of cardboard that causes the crack. So if you're on the right side of it, then you get the crack part, which will give you the prizes.
So you can cheat.
Yeah, but you can't know which side it's on because it's inside of the cracker.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they were purely a British thing until I saw this TikTok circulating about Christmas crackers. It was quite alarming to see. I knew that new.
Because I'm not either British or American, so I had to learn both of y'all's fucking traditions to graduate.
Apologies.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what you must have learned or seen there. Oh, and there's also the Queen's speech, which will now be the King's speech, around 3:15 p.m. I want to say, in the afternoon, after everyone's either preparing to eat or have just eaten their Christmas dinner. But we always turn it off naturally because we're not weird monarchists who care about what the royal family have to say.
Yeah, we have a presidential speech too. I've never watched one.
No.
Yeah, there are reasons for it.
It's usually like, oh, another year of prosperity, when the year in question has been spent suffering in poverty, can't turn our heatings on. So it'd be very interesting to see what King Charles has to say this year. Probably a lot of blubbering things about the Queen's death. Yeah, that's our traditions. Yeah. Not great.
Fascinating.
Is it though?
Can you think of some gift in your entire life that was like the most exciting one?
Okay, I always think about, I got a life-size doll, and it was the tackiest, most plastic doll in the world. Her legs would dislocate from her hips if you pulled hard enough. But she had this like beautiful white lacy dress and blonde hair, and she was like my best pal for a while because she was nearly the same size as me. I mean, now she would be quite small, but she was very
horribly
lovely.
sad sentence to say, my love.
I grew up an only child. How about you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm getting books lately a lot, and that's always my favorite shit to get, naturally. Yeah. I remember once when my mom did this sort of surprise thing where she was like, oh my God, I forgot another gift. She because she had her bed in our living room, and it was like higher levels, so there were like stairs to go to her bed, and she told me like bring her the charger, and when I went to the bed there was another box with a gift that for me was my first laptop, and then she sent my brother to the balcony where he had snowboard.
Oh.
And I was like hour after we like unwrapped all the presents, it was like a surprise thing, which was always like think back to.
That's really nice. When you think, when you're a bit sad because all the presents have been opened, and then you find the bestest one of all.
Yeah, that was really sweet. One Christmas, I just because I always like looked naturally. So did my brother. We were of course. So one year I remember mom put them all in the couch after she packed them all, like wrapped them all. And she's like, look, here's everything. It's already like wrapped. Fuck you. And then it was last year in our apartment before we moved out, which is like 3 years ago. And she locked them all in this very old closet that we had since like my grandmother lived there. And she hit the key and she lost it. And because the it was so ancient, there was no way to get the same key. So she was ready to like rip it out. Luckily her friend somehow had the same closet from the same decades back. So she gave her the key so she could unlock it and get all the presents that she locked there.
Oh my gosh, amazing. That's quite funny. I do remember one sneak peek in. I didn't mean to, but I stumbled upon an early Christmas present. And then I had to pretend until Christmas that I didn't know what it was, and it was a dollhouse. And it was under the stairs because we had like a similar closet under the stairs. But yeah, I pretended the whole time that I didn't know it was there.
The thing is, I sometimes went through like stuff at the house like at the apartment just because I was bored. And I did stumble upon it by accident. But then once you know where she hides the stuff, you go there every single time.
Yeah.
So then I was like very much skilled about finding those stuff. Because sometimes, you know, like there were little soaps and shit, and for some reason I absolutely loved them as a kid. Aww. So I went through the stuff just to find the little stuff that I could steal that no one really cared about.
Ivy is a kleptomaniac. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Every time we do a podcast, I find out something new and terrifying about you. Like the fish. First it was the fish scales. Now I find out that you take things. When you're bored, you root for things to steal. It's all coming out this
It's just
Queermas.
about the little feeling, the rush of excitement that you somehow got a thing that wasn't yours before.
She's going to end up in jail, this one.
when we used to go with our dad to like 2 weeks for like he wanted to fish on the other like in the mountains or shit, and we always like he rented a whole cabin, so I went through the stuff there when they were fishing because I was bored, and sometimes I found little stuff that
Oh my god, you're like one of those kids from Home Alone who everyone hates. Like that one who just gets into the taxi and then they think he's Kevin McAllister because he's just rooting through people's stuff in the taxi and he looks like him. Okay, let's get into Bus Ticket Baby. So, for those who don't know, Bus Ticket Baby is a short Christmassy novella about a pregnant woman who's going home for the holidays. But she doesn't have a partner or a baby daddy, and she's crying on the bus, and this guy helps her out, of course. So fake dating ensues. They both help each other in that department. And of course it ends up becoming real just as she's ready to have the baby, and it's very soft, even though it's pregnancy, it's very low stakes. And the characters in it are bi. And there's a very open conversation about that as well. So it was just it gave me the warm and fuzzies. Like I really wanted to hold this book very close to my chest when I finished it because it was so warm.
It triggered my baby fever. Like, it was really, really, really amazing book that I enjoyed really, really. I cried. To be fair, I cried a lot, but like it made me cry a lot. It was amazing.
And this doesn't happen often when I recommend books to Ivy. She really enjoyed it. And let's all just take a moment.
I'm saying nothing.
Okay. I think that says a lot.
I enjoy the books that you force me to read.
She won't read Sally Rooney because there are no speech marks in it.
For fuck's sake! It's so confusing. It's so fucking confusing. I already struggle reading as it is. Now you take away the only thing that sort of makes it organized. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna put them in for you. I keep saying I will. I'm gonna get a spare copy and put them in for you. But
Please do.
So everybody rejoice because Ivy enjoyed a book I recommended.
Play again.
Ivy enjoyed a book I recommended. But aside from Bus Ticket Baby, Imogen has lots of novellas in her back catalogue. You can find them on Scribd, in audiobook and ebook, and she's also self-publishing some of them on Amazon with really pretty paperback covers. So
yeah, we get really into it in the interview, but like just saying it, buy the paperbacks because the covers are fucking adorable.
Yeah, exactly. So without further ado, here we are talking to Imogen Markwell-Tweed, author of Bus Ticket Baby. Today we have Imogen Markwell-Tweed, who is the author of many queer novellas. Bus Ticket Baby is our favourite for Christmas, but do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about you?
Sure, yeah. Well, thanks for having me, first of all. Very excited to be here. Love Queermas. Love the podcast. Like Rachel said, I'm Imogen Markwell-Tweed. I'm a queer romance author. I write novellas, shorts, and a few longer pieces, but generally in any genre that interests me that week. The only thing that is constant is that the characters will be queer. They will probably be baking, and they will be happy at the end.
And we love the bacon. What more do you need, especially in a Christmas?
It's so romantic.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned, Bus Ticket Baby, that was our favorite. Rach forced me to read. I loved every minute of it. What was the idea behind it? Where did you find the inspiration? Because it's quite a unique story.
Oh, thank you. Most of my stories start with the baking scene. I wanted to do a Christmas thing, and I just started writing this little baking scene that's like, I think halfway through. Um, and at the time, I believe I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I believe someone in my life had just been pregnant. And I was like, I've never written a pregnancy before. So I did it, and it was the most haunting thing in my life. And I've not done it since. Um, but it was really fun to play with this sort of like, I love all the tropes in like a Christmas Hallmarky kind of way, and putting those all together um, with a Christmas baby. I mean, who doesn't love a Christmas baby?
It really like solidified the found family aspect. I was gonna ask you actually about writing a pregnant protagonist because they're really not that common still in romantic comedy. You said it was haunted. What made you, first of all, want to write a pregnant protagonist, and then what was challenging about that?
Yeah, so I think the idea of like people being in a big relationship on a time crunch was really interesting to me. And the stakes were so much higher because there was a baby involved. But also, like I said, I'd never written a pregnant person before. And I like to, in my books, try to write as many different types of people as possible that I feel I have the right to write their perspective from. Um, and I just wanted people to be able to be pregnant and read my book and see themselves if they wanted. And I know that pregnancy and queer is not always a very popular combination in romance novels. Um, while there's a pretty, I don't know if it's substantial, but I've definitely read romance books with cis het couples who are pregnant. But I don't think I've ever read it in queer books. Not to say it doesn't happen, but I hadn't done it and I hadn't come across it. So I just wanted to put something out there that I felt like a different person could really relate to or maybe find comfort in.
Yeah. I always say that I don't really like the pregnancy trope, but the way that you did it was different because a lot of romance authors rely on it as a sort of crutch halfway through when they need a bit of conflict. But it was really refreshing to kind of read it from the beginning with a pregnant character. Like, and the obstacle wasn't kind of that she was pregnant, it was also the thing that brought them together.
Yeah, I really like that part of it as well. Like, in a lot of the pregnant romance books I read, the pregnancy happens like at a one night stand, or maybe like that's what gets the characters together. And I tried to be very mindful of the heightened emotions in pregnancy and the pregnant person and how that could, affect how you feel about another person, and kind of show, you can fall in love with a family as well as a person.
That was very sweetly said, honestly. Yeah.
Vanessa bakes gingerbread cookies in Bus Ticket Baby, and of course you mentioned you love putting the baking scenes in there. Do you have like a favorite recipe that you've used so far?
Oh, in any of my books?
In any of them.
That's hard. I love a pie. I love to make people make a pie. I think it's time consuming, and it's usually simple enough that like drama can be happening, but like meditative in a way. I find whenever I make pie, it's very meditative, and I don't know. I just think there's something really romantic about like looking at this person that you're in love with, and they don't know that you're in love with them. That's usually what's happening in my books, and giving them a piece of pie. Say, I made this for you. I just think it's romantic.
It is, and cozy as well.
I'm very Midwest. I'm from the Midwest, and you can
tell. How about like, do you do festive baking of your own, and is there a recipe you turn to there that maybe you haven't used yet, or maybe you have?
I am a terrible baker, so I do bake. I bake often, and I do gingerbread cookies. I do like this hazelnut cake that's very good, but it's all me Googling what's in a hazelnut cake and then calling people and being like, is this wrong? Have I messed up this cake by putting in 15 times the amount of salt? So I'm actually a terrible baker, and that is why I put it in all my books, because what is writing except pretending like you're living your best dream? Someone who doesn't mess up a recipe.
Exactly.
You're also part of a few anthologies. Do you prefer writing these short stories or the novellas?
Oh, it's an interesting question. I don't know that I have a preference. I feel like they scratch different parts of my brain. I find that typically the anthologies that are shorter are more erotic. which I really enjoy writing. I think that I find the difference between erotica and romance very fascinating, and using that as a tool to tell a romance is really interesting to me. So I don't know, maybe those are more fun to write at the moment because they're also so much faster. But the novellas, I think I get to do more like cozy. It's more cozy for me. It's more like, what do I want to see on the screen? What would I have liked to read at 17? And that's usually what I pick my book to be about.
Do you ever imagine longer stories, like for Vanessa and Emmett, in a sense, their story was only just beginning when the epilogue ended? Do you kind of ever imagine that, or do you wish you could write longer ones in that sense?
Oh yeah. I don't know that I wish I could write longer ones necessarily. But I do think about going back to them sometimes. I imagine Vanessa and Emmett have 3 kids now, and Denny is the babysitter, and he is bad at it, but they are too afraid to tell him that, so Vanessa just doesn't leave him alone. And I think it's fun to think about like what their little lives could be like a few years down the road, and what kind of conflict they would have. But I don't know. Usually, if I want to write a longer story, it's not for one that I've already written, because I feel like I've told that story in the way that I want it to be told.
Do you generally like want to perhaps do a sort of like a follow-up book about a different couple, or focus on a different person in the first story?
Yeah, that's really interesting. A lot of my other characters in that one are either married already or young. So it would take a little bit of thinking to be like, well, who would Denny date at 25? You know, who would Becca like at 30? So I haven't actually thought about it that much, but I wouldn't be opposed if there was an outpour of people saying, I would like to know what happens to
I
this
would like to know what
character,
happens
you know?
to all of the characters.
I also would like to
I'll
know.
take it into consideration.
You at this point wrote over 20 stories so far. I lost count. I went to 20 and then I was like, okay, that's a lot. Is there something that still sort of like surprises you about your process or the characters that you choose to write about? And is there something that you found perhaps easier than it used to be?
Yeah, I think what surprises me is, you know, this many books in, and you know, Rachel knows we write for the same publisher. It's a very fast process, and it's still hard. And I keep expecting one day for it to not be hard anymore, and it just is. It's hard to write a book, and I keep expecting it to go faster. But I will say the thing that I think has gotten easier is coming up with ideas, and a big mission that I have with my books is to just tell as many different types of people as I can, just having a good time. I feel like there's a lot of queer media out there that is so depressing and so sad. And even if it has a happy ending, they're like, you're gonna have to come out to your whole family first, and they're not gonna like it. And so just trying to write books where like people are just vibing. The biggest conflict is they do have to admit what they're feeling, and that sucks for them, but we all have to deal with that. So I think something that happily surprises me and that I still find fun is just thinking of a new person. Like the book I'm writing right now has a grad student. And I'm like, yeah, good luck finding love in grad school.
Amazing. And you also post a lot of mood boards and playlists on your social media. Do you like kind of create the mood boards before coming up with the story? Like, are they the first step, or do you come up with this outline and plan it first and then go to the mood boards, or which kind of order do you go through that?
Yeah, so usually I come up with the story idea and like a very short synopsis, pitch it to wherever I'm submitting it, and then if it gets approved, then I make my mood board. And that's kind of like my vibes, because you know, some books the characters are going to be suave, but a lot of them they're going to fall down the stairs. So trying to figure out what the vibe I want to give is important for me as a first step. My outlines aren't great. They're like, they have talk here. There's ice cream involved. So getting the vibe straight is really important. The playlist I usually come with last. I'll like listen to, like for Bus Ticket Baby, I listen to a lot of Christmas music, and then I would just put all the ones I really liked into a different playlist. And at the end, I like ordered them and chose which ones I thought were best for the story.
Do you write with music or kind of like just to get in the vibe?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine just sitting here alone with my thoughts. I have to have a musical playlist.
Oh gosh. I'm the opposite. Like I can focus if there are other words happening around me. So it has to be instrumental or nothing.
I
That's
will
so
one up
fair.
you. I'm watching a movie when I write once in a year. Or
Stresses me
Is it
out.
like on the same theme?
yeah, like I was when I was writing this like pirate one, I just watched the entire Pirates of the Caribbean just to get the vibes and the vocabulary and the correct words for this certain things and stuff. I especially when I the movie, it's easier for me. But then again, I don't know what I was writing then, but I just put on a sitcom that I know, so just to have people talking on me while I write.
Yeah, it's really helpful, like being like in a cafe maybe, just like
Yeah,
having
but
background
then there are
noise is
actual
helpful for
people,
me.
and that's a big minus. So like just the fictional, yeah. Do you have a story that is somehow like most special to you, or that you think of every now and then?
Oh, that is so interesting. I feel that way about a lot of my stories. I think one real benefit of writing as quickly as I do for the turnover for Bryant Street, at least, is I'm just having a good time. I'm not here to write any spectacular book that is going to like top the charts. I'm just here to vibe and have queer people bake a cake. So I think very affectionately about most of them. My first few books I think about a lot. My first one was Life After Love, and my second was I Know How This Ends. And so I think a lot about those because they were the first ones I kind of put forward. And I don't know. Obviously, I think we change and grow and become better writers from our first books, but there's something very sweet about the very first thing you were like, this is a story I have to tell. So I think about that a lot. I also think a lot about this vampire book I wrote because the vampire character, you read this one.
I read this one. Fucking good.
I love it. I think it's
Yeah.
so fun. My vampire character does gardening outside in full funeral garb so that the sun can't get him. And I just think it's fun. I think he's
That's
having
so
a good
cute.
time. So yeah, I don't know. I think about a lot of them, but I suppose like my beginning ones are the ones that I go back to the most. How to be like, what inspired me so much before I knew anything about what readers would like for me.
Yeah.
You've also been writing for a new TV show, Parallel. Do you want to talk a bit about what it's like writing for screen in comparison?
Yeah, sure. So the Imogen Markwell-Tweed is my pen name. That's my pseudonym, and that's where I do all my real sweet and queer romances. So as Emma, I do other projects, and one of those is a TV show called Parallel. It is all finished filming, and it's in editing now, and the trailer should be dropping maybe early 2023, which is very exciting. It is about time travel and family and friends and finding your path and loving your life. It's about a lot of things. It's mostly about bagels and Michelle Branch, but it's about a lot of things.
Amazing. Is it also queer?
It is a little queer. Yes, there are queer characters. I personally think any story about time travel is inherently a little bit queer. That's my hot take for the day. So it's not an Imogen Markwell-Tweed story. There's no, hallmarky romantic end goal or baking, but I still think people who like my books would like it.
Amazing.
What was the most challenging about going from stories to script?
Yeah, I think the most challenging part was learning to shut the hell up. When you write a book, you get to say whatever you want, and there's a lot of like descriptions, and in the script you have to be collaborative, and you have to trust the director and the cinematographer and the editor to also make storytelling choices. Whereas writing a book, at least in the way I do it, is very individual. It's very, I am in charge. Every joke is a joke that I wrote. And writing for the screen is so, it's such a beautiful and collaborative process that involves me not over talking in the descriptions.
Did you carry any of that back into your novella writing then? Like, did you find things felt different when you kind of went back to the novella writing?
Yes, I took a big hiatus on novella writing while I was doing the show, because I just found it really difficult to switch brains so much. And now that I'm back in my novella world, it's nice to sort of have all these other perspectives, because the writers' room were full of, I knew maybe one or two people, but I didn't know most of them. And having these different sort of like very good writers and comedians share their perspectives has helped me, I feel like, round out some of my universe, whereas maybe before every single joke, it was written for me. I liked it. So now I feel like the characters feel a little bit more like they could stand up without me.
Can you tell us a little bit of what we can expect from you in the new year, like some exciting projects, some news, anything?
Yeah, sure. So in the new year, I'm back on my novella train. I am intending on releasing more books on my Amazon or physical copies of my backlog, and producing more work for Bryant Street. So there's a lot that's coming. I'm really excited about it all.
Exciting.
Do you have one story in particular that you're excited to tell us about, or maybe what you're working on right now?
Sure. I'm working on a novel called Bring Me a Dream. It will be on Scribd on Bryant Street in the new year. I don't have an exact date for that yet, but it is about a grad student who cannot sleep and a Sandman who is very tired of her bullshit. And they go on little adventures together and eat some ice cream, and they will, in fact, spoiler alert, fall in love.
Amazing. Can't wait.
Wonderful. Are you also planning another Christmassy novella, perhaps?
So for this year, I don't have a brand new release out, but I do have a new Amazon release. It's already available on Scribd, so you might have read it, Boyfriends for Now. It is a Christmas fake boyfriends, my favorite trope, about a boss and his employee going back home for the holidays. So that will be on Amazon and available for print.
Cool.
And you do use quite a few of the similar tropes. Is there any that you've been trying to avoid recently, or like, is there any media that inspired kind of the fake dating trope, because you use so much of that in there?
Yeah, so I would say tropes that I avoid are love triangles. I don't find them interesting, really, in the way that I know them in like a Twilight way. The one love triangle I did write was boy meets girl meets Earl, and they all were just poly. So it started off as a love triangle, but in fact they were all just gay and in love. I think love triangle can be done well, but not by me.
Yeah.
I also try to avoid miscommunication. I think if the plot could be solved by one single conversation, I try to avoid that. Just because in my own life, I do not like to miscommunicate. I like to over communicate, and so do my characters. For tropes that for the fake dating trope, I just feel like I've seen it in so many romances. I have a big fan fiction background, and it's very popular there. And I just think it's fun. I think it's fun to give characters who maybe are shy or emotionally stilted, or just like not in touch with what they want, this opportunity to see what they actually want and how they actually feel in these situations. And I think it's a really unique way for characters to get close and to still be guarded. And I think it gets a lot of that same drama as like a miscommunication without actually having to have miscommunication.
Yeah.
Do you like reading it as much as writing it? Or is there some trope that you like reading more than writing?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say enemies to lovers. Yeah, I love to read a good enemies to lovers. I am terrible at writing it. I've done it a few times, but it's like, it is one chapter where they're fighting and then they have a single conversation and it's over.
Yeah.
I'm just not very good at it.
It's
I love my characters to
difficult.
be nice to each other. Yeah, it takes a really skilled hand, and it's not for me. But I do think it's really interesting to read, and I think when done well, it is so satisfying.
Yeah.
And the thing with your characters is that they're always very like sensitive and soft and kind, and you just can't imagine them like getting, if they're angry, it's because they're flustered. And I love that very much about them as well.
Yeah, I think the longest fight I had was in The Dad Code, which is about two single dads whose kids are rivals. And the dads are like, okay, I'll stand up. Like, you're mad at this kid. I hate his dad. But that's as far as I got.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about favorite festive media. Is there a go-to that you have with Christmas on its way? Like favorite movie, favorite show, favorite book?
Yes. There is The Spirit of Christmas is my all-time favorite Christmas movie. Have you seen it?
No.
Wait.
I must recommend this movie to every single person, every single listener, every single watcher. Must watch The Spirit of Christmas. It is about she's a brunette, and if you know anything about the Hallmark universe, that means that she has a job and she cares about her job. And she's a lawyer, and she has to sell a house on Christmas. She has to sell this property or she's not going to get her big promotion. And everyone's like, this house is haunted. She goes, no, it's not. I don't believe in ghosts. And then there is a ghost. And he goes, I'm a ghost. And she goes, I'm still selling your house. And I love it. It's incredible. That boss babe will not be deterred.
I was not expecting a very straight Hallmark romance from you.
I
love it.
Expecting some family thing or something, and then I see them like staring into each other's eyes on the poster.
Yeah, but one's a ghost.
Yeah,
didn't you write? Is Clearinghouse is a ghost and a real estate.
Clearinghouse has no ghost.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, tricky. Clearinghouse has no ghost. It has a ghost hunter. But Life After Love is a ghost. I love ghosts.
Do you have a preference between kind of contemporary and paranormal?
Ooh, that's interesting. I do a lot of both. I do like a contemporary paranormal. So it's like this guy has a job and he has an apartment, but also there's a ghost there and he's gonna fall in love with it. So I like to do both. Like I don't do full fantasy. Usually the universe isn't like fully fantastical. Like there's still taxes, but there's also a vampire.
And that's the way we like it.
Okay, so each of our episodes on the podcast, we always start it for like half an hour about the media that we're currently enjoying very much. Do you have something that right now you're reading or watching that you cannot get enough of?
Ooh, this is like, I feel like a detour from what you might expect based off my books, but I am a huge Mike Flanagan fan. If you don't know him, he's the writer and director for like Bly Manor, Hill House, Midnight Club. I love his work, and I think he's a fabulous writer. His monologues are so dramatic, and there's always a ghost, and I love a ghost, whether it's a sexy ghost or not. I love it. But I'm rationing Midnight Club because it's been canceled, and there's only one season, so I'm doing one episode like a week and a half because I'm close to finishing that. And
that's certainly some strong will. Every time I start something and I enjoy it, like I'm down by the end of the day.
Well, Mike Flanagan only releases one series every 2 years, so I've got to be careful.
Just respect for the strong will, honestly. That's something
it helps
that
I was moving.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I asked Ivy to watch Grey's and she caught up with me in 3 days, and I was on like 5 seasons in.
Yeah, and now on season 12.
It's quite devastating to me.
Are you still on 5?
I'm on 7 now. We're going places.
That's a good season.
Oh yeah,
I know, it's my favorite one.
It's getting really fucking good again.
But the thing is, when I started watching it, I could text Rachel about anything because she saw it. But after that, I couldn't, and it was awful. And now I don't remember anything of what she's currently watching because I'm already on season 12. A lot of things happened.
Yeah, you're going through it.
Yeah. And soon I'm gonna get my Station 19 babies, and then I'll be just gone.
She's no victim in this. She tells me something big is happening, and then I'm like, well, you have to tell me what now? And she's like, no, I can't tell you. But I know
If I'm
something is
sobbing,
happening.
Like when my baby Lexi, I sobbed so hard. I've never cried this hard. So I have to share the emotion. I don't want to necessarily say what's happening. I just want her to know that I'm suffering. That's all.
I understand.
Yeah.
I get it. I've also watched all of Grey's.
Did you watch Station 19 too?
I don't. There's some shows that I save in case I'm ever put on bed rest, and that's one of them.
That's certainly a sentence that I did not expect.
You don't get to control in your life whenever you're going to be told to like stay in your bed for a while to heal and be healthy, and I don't want to be bored. So I haven't watched Downton Abbey, and I haven't watched Station 19.
Okay,
that's amazing.
What if the situation never calls for that?
Yeah.
You may never watch
Then I guess you won't know. Yeah, it's fine. I watch a lot of stuff.
Amazing.
Wow. Wonderful. I have to say, I really love the covers of the paperbacks. I love how they all match.
Thank you.
And it's just very cute.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that, because I really struggle with it. It's not very genre typical to have, I think, these really simple covers. But
it's very simple and very pretty. And it really is. Yeah.
And every time
stories, they're also very simple.
Yeah,
exactly. And very pretty.
Every time I've posted on my Instagram, I always get messages saying, "Oh, I love this cover." So I really, they might not be fit in with kind of the market at the minute, but they're going places anyway.
I'm so glad to hear this. It's also, I'm sure it's very hard to find queer cover.
Oh yeah,
like, to just find like free art or free photographs of queer couples that aren't like holding a pride flag.
Yeah,
which is fine, but it's just like that can't be every book.
And also, like, if they're queer, they really want you to know they're queer, so they have the whole lesbian haircut and like colored hair and stuff. And it's like, my characters are just some soft sapphics who happen to be queer, and you can kind of never find the perfect one. It's very limited. But it's nice to have someone else do that for me now. Sometimes.
Yeah, and you deserve it.
It was so nice to talk to you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So to sum up, we can expect more softness, more soft characters, more low stakes romance. And so if you're looking for just some queer joy, do read Imogen Markwell-Tweed's books.
That would be what I suggest.
There we have it. So this was our 6th day of Queermas. If you haven't caught up yet, we have lots of fun stuff out already, an author for every day. So we had on the first day, Chelsea Pennington with an article about biphobia and media. Second day, we have Eliza Lenski with Made for TV Queermas. On the third day, we interviewed Lizzie Huxley-Jones. So we have a special podcast out now. Day 4, we interviewed Serena Kirsch for our website. And yesterday, we interviewed Hannah Hendy, author of An Unfortunate Christmas Murder. We're halfway through, 6 more days yet to come. Make sure to stay updated on our website, swordsandsapphics.com, for more content every day around midday London time.
Yes.
And we announce everything that's coming out first on our Twitter and Instagram a couple of hours before.
Also on Discord, which you can join, and which you find on our website, that at this time that we're currently recording is still not. So
no, maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Look,
but you'll find
it is what it is. Okay. Yes.
It's
and if
on
not,
our link
just
tree.
text us. It is. Oh, so it's on a link tree. So go you find it there for sure.
Yeah, find
at some point in our future. It will probably be on the website.
Yeah, maybe even by the time this episode goes out, but who knows? Well, Remember to support women's rights.
But most importantly, support women's wrongs.
Even if she is lying to her family about who her baby daddy is.
Yes. And see you later, alligator.
In a while, crocodile.